In today's video, I'm going to give you the 8 essential tools that you're going to need as a woodworking beginner. Let's dive in. All right, welcome back to the show. Welcome back to the podcast. As always, I'm so glad that you're here. If you don't know who I am, my name is Zach Vaught. I started my woodworking business as a complete beginner back in 2017 and didn't know what the heck I was doing for the first 3 years of my business. Started it as a side hustle, became a full-time thing for me, and then ultimately went back and got another job because I didn't know what I was doing, but then started learning some business principles and actually started scaling that woodworking business as a side hustle and maintained another job, and ultimately grew into a 6,600 square foot shop, a showroom, 7 employees, and we were doing over $70,000 per month in 2023. I sold that business for multiple 6 figures back at the beginning of this year, and I am here to help you on your journey. So if you're trying to grow a woodworking business, if you're trying to make it a legit side hustle, this is going to be the place for you to check out and hang around. So be sure to subscribe. So in today's video, I want to give you the 8 essential woodworking tools for beginners. And this is based on my experience. This is based on what I've seen. And you might say 8 tools, that is a lot of tools. Well, it is, but you can actually get a lot of these used. You could probably get in for all of these for probably somewhere around $500 to $750 for all of them. Now, you can also completely get by with just a couple of them. And I'm going to highlight what those are, okay? So the 8 essential tools. Number 1 is you need a good drill. You need a good drill, probably a good combo drill set. So you need an impact drill and just a standard drill that you can adjust the torque the drill is putting out. You can typically get a good combo set, drill set brand new for somewhere between $150 to $250. If you buy it used or refurbished, you can probably get it for $99 or less. And so if you're gonna be building stuff, dudette, you're gonna need a drill, right? You're gonna need to be able to put stuff together, screw stuff together, bore holes through things. It's gonna be important, okay? So number 1 is a drill. Number 2, was absolutely the cornerstone of my shop, especially in the beginning, and that was a miter saw. You need a way to cut lumber. You need a way to get your dimensions and your lengths the way that you need them. Without this, you're gonna be dead in the water. You can get one of these used for $100 or maybe even less, but I typically recommend buying one of these new if you can, just because you don't know how hard a used one has been run in the past or how much life you're gonna get out of it. But it just depends on your budget and what you can do. I would say that these 2 are absolute essentials. These are the first 2 tools that I bought, okay? Number 3 is a table saw. And so if you're wanting to cut stuff down and make it more narrow along the grain, like if a board is long, a chop saw is going to cut across the grain. A table saw, you would push the board through, cutting with the grain. If you're wanting to go from a 10-inch board to a 6.5-inch board, or you want to do things like that, you're going to need a table saw. My only tip with a table saw is just be careful out there, friends. Table saws are pretty dangerous. If you don't know what you're doing, be watching table saw safety videos here on YouTube, okay? Make sure you know what you're doing. Be smart out there, okay? Number 4 is a planer. And so what is a planer? It is a depth planer, and it takes thick pieces of wood and makes them thinner pieces of wood. And the other beautiful thing about a planer is that it takes all the rough stuff off of a piece of wood. So if you got a really rough piece of wood, you can run it through a planer and it's going to give you this baby butt smooth piece of wood on the other side. And so it's not going to be perfect, but it's going to save you a ton of time and a ton of energy with a sander, which we'll get into later. And so a planer, I would say, is one of the best investments that you can make as you get started. So be sure to check that out. Number 5 is a joiner. And so what is a joiner? Like, let's say that you're making tabletops or bench tops or putting pieces of wood together. You're gonna need really crisp, straight seams where you're putting those boards together. And a joiner is gonna be the number 1 tool to help you do that. And so I cannot recommend a joiner enough. They're one of the more expensive items on this list. You can spend ridiculous amounts of money on a joiner if you want, but I would encourage you to start using a joiner if you're trying to do tabletops. It's gonna help you a lot. Number 6 is a router. And so a router is how you're gonna get a decorative edge on all of your pieces. It's gonna be how you clean up holes that you have to bore out on stuff. A router is a great tool. It's a pretty low cost investment. You can get into routers from anywhere from around $70 to $300 brand new, even less pre-owned or refurbished. And so also a router is a super dangerous tool. You have this one little itty bitty thing that's spinning 5,000 RPMs. It doesn't look intimidating. It doesn't look scary. The whole tool is about this big, but that little thing, if you touch that with your finger finger is going to go flying off of your body. And so you got to be really careful, okay? Number 7 is a sander. You need to have a good sander so that you're not putting out products or building stuff that's just rough to the touch. You don't want that. You want to be able to sand your stuff smooth, it to look beautiful. And this is what really polishes and refines your product. So as you do all these other things and you build stuff, it's kind of, you're putting it together, it looks good, but when people get up close to it, it's still kind of rough. A sander is what really puts the finishing touches on your product along with your finishes. Lastly, number 8, and this is one that I love, is you need clamps. You're going to need clamps to hold stuff together as you put glue on things and you clamp things together, as you're driving screws into things. Clamps, I cannot tell you how important good clamps are in the process of becoming a good woodworker. You can get into bar clamps. I love bar clamps because you can buy different lengths of bars and you can just get the clamps themselves that screw onto the bars on the top and the other piece slides up and down it. I really recommend Bessie clamps. I've always had great experiences with those. There's multiple different types of clamps that you can get, but I love Bessie clamps. They've always treated me right, been a great product. And so what are the absolute essentials? Well, I would say that you're going to need all of these things that I just mentioned, but absolute essentials is you're going to need a drill, you're going to need a miter saw, you're going to need a sander, you're going to need clamps. I would say that's like, if you're just getting started, you're using dimensional lumber that you're getting from Home Depot or Lowe's, you can get started and be pretty dangerous with those 4 things. But I would say these 8 items are going to be mission critical in the long-term health of your woodworking side hustle or your woodworking hobby or your woodworking business. So with that being said, if you have any other questions about these things, let me know in the comments below. Would love to connect with you. If you're trying to grow a woodworking business, you're trying to grow a good woodworking side hustle, make some extra money for you and your family, be sure to check out the Handmade Business Secrets ebook. It's a book that I wrote. It's about 95 pages long and it's completely free. It's not going to cost you anything, and you can check that out in the description below. You just got to enter your first name, your email, and we're going to send that to your email address. And so I cannot recommend that book enough. It really outlines my journey from struggling as a brand new woodworker to scaling a woodworking business to over $70,000 per month. Check that out. And then lastly, if you're really wanting to make this a legitimate thing, if you're trying to take this to where it could replace your income, if you're trying to take this to where this could be an additional $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 per month for you and your family, be sure to check out the Woodworking Business Accelerator program. That is our flagship cornerstone product that we offer, and it is a coaching and consulting product. We're going to come in, we're either going to teach you or run ads for you. That's going to predictably give you new clients. We're going to show you what products sell the best. We're going to coach you once you start selling and you get overwhelmed with production. We're going to show you how to refine your systems and get more done more efficiently. And so I have so many case studies of guys that have come in and absolutely crushed it. We've now helped over 100 people all across North America grow and scale their woodworking business. So be sure to check that out. With that being said, I love you guys. Appreciate you. If you haven't subscribed, make sure to do that, and I'll see you in the next one.